This is Quillbilly Garage, and you're watching another episode of this 1934 Ford Sedan Resurrection. For this episode, we're gonna call this a project status check-in, where I'm not accomplishing anything in particular in this video, but we're going to talk about some of the things that I've already done and that I'm gonna have to revisit. Talk about some viewers that have commented and given me good instruction on how to do some things right. And we'll talk about my goals for this car a little bit and next steps. So just in brief, my dad bought this car back in 1966. It was the last time it was driven with brakes that worked and things working was about 1975. It's been run since then, most recently about 4 years ago, but has not moved under its own power since, say, 1990. No brakes at that time, as I recall. I was the one driving it. Anyhow, what's next? My goal for this car is to preserve the exterior. I'm going to clean it up and shine it up and make it look the best it can for that original paint. But I do have a new interior kit to put in it and replacing the broken windows on it. If you've been following my videos, what I've already done is this car was converted to hydraulic brakes sometime probably in the 50s with kind of a very creative and crude master cylinder mount, and I put something more appropriate in it. So anyway, the brakes, I put all the brakes back together, things like battery cables. Well, I don't even remember what else. But here's where we're at now. I do want to get it back on the road and reliable, but my immediate goal is to get it moving under its own power safely, starting, stopping, fuel system solid, tires decent, because I need to move this car. I need to get it to a different building, and it's kind of a motivation for me to want to be able to drive it to the new building, even if it's not totally road ready yet. So that's my immediate goal, getting things together enough that I could go down the road a mile or two and not worry about breaking down between here and there. So getting to one of the things that a viewer commented on, and I appreciate it very much. I think it was my last episode where I put new battery cables in, and I was unsure where to put the ground strap. I thought that the ground strap was to bolt. Well, I was right. I was just wrong on where I put it. I thought the ground strap was to bolt to the clamshell over the U-joint. And so first I tried putting it here, but there wasn't enough clearance to get the battery cable around it. So then I end up pulling out one of the vertical mount bolts, and that's where I put it, and that would probably work, but a kind viewer commented and pointed me to this hole that's right next to that bolt, and apparently that hole is threaded, or at least was originally. I need to clean out that grease and either, if the threads are still good, get a bolt to thread in there, or if not, I'll get a nut and a bolt and attach it there. So that's something I'll do off camera, but that is one of the things I wanted to touch base on, revisiting some of the things that I'd already done. Another thing that I want to get to before I take this down the road is reinstall the rear fender. My dad had pulled it off to do some body work to it. It was quite banged up, and my dad was very much wanting to straighten it out without using any body filler. And he got it knocked pretty. It didn't finish, but it's a lot straighter than it was. At this point, I'm just going to reattach it. I don't have the skills to, I don't think I have the skills to straighten it out the rest of the way without using any body filler. So for now, I'm just going to put it back on the car. And for the next thing to take a look at, I am going to lift it up on the rack here. So something else you might remember from my video where I did the battery cables is when I made the connections to the starter switch up there, the post toward the engine, the one that has the battery cable that goes over to from the switch to the starter, that stud was loose, and I was unsure of if that was going to work. And a kind viewer commented that all I need to do is take that nut off, pull the cable back off, and I can tighten the nut that's behind the cable, and that will tighten that to the body of the starter switch. So that's another thing I will follow up on and do off camera. While poking around down here, and remember, all the brake hydraulics are new. I'm not going to do it here on camera, but I noticed that this is the master cylinder, that if I pushed on that little dust boot, brake fluid would leak out. So I have got a bad seal in that master cylinder. So that's another thing I need to do before I can drive this. And again, that's something I'll take care of off camera, because you've already seen me install a brake master cylinder on this car. While we're here, we got a good shot of that battery cable going through the frame grommet and attached up there in the wrong place. And you can just barely see up there the grease-filled hole where it goes. Maybe you can see it. Like I say, it's full of grease. Hard to even tell it's a hole. So some upcoming videos on this are going to include replacing the fan belt and water pumps. I've actually started that video, I just haven't completed it because I'm waiting on the water pumps that I sent off to get rebuilt and sent back to me. I'll also end up doing a video on the fuel system, getting that back into shape, making sure that I've got a clean tank, good fuel line, good fuel filter, and a fuel pump that's pumping. And then I'll probably do a quick video on putting that rear fender back on. Of course, there'll be so many other subjects on this car, but those are the ones here in the near future that I'm waiting on, or tasks that I'm waiting on getting completed so I can drive this to another place. Thanks again for watching Hillbilly Garage. I hope you're enjoying this content. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video. Till next time, thanks for watching.